everyone, happy Monday. I hope you're having an amazing start to your week or whatever day it is that you're watching this. My name is Susan Sly and I specialize in teaching productivity, organization, and my objective for you is that you can become more productive and lead a ridiculously fulfilling life. So I have a question for you. Did you start the year with some specific goals? And, a lot of us do. We set New Year's resolutions. Maybe some of them are champagne inspired. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to hit a new rank and I'm going to achieve a goal and I'm going to lose weight and whatever. And here we are. It's 6 weeks left to go to the end of the year. And you're like, either, yes, you've nailed a bunch of goals or you're not on track or you're not even sure. Wherever you're at, take a breath, breathe. This is for you. Today, we're going to talk about priorities. And it's so ironic because this morning I was meditating on what we were going to talk about today, and there's a big topic. And then I didn't run into her. I was at the school volunteering with another mom who watches these. And I said, this is the topic I want to talk about. And she's like, that's a perfect topic. And of course, I'm having a day. Right? So I started the day, like many of you, going, this is what I want to accomplish. It's going to be amazing. And all these different things have happened. My online scheduling program got messed up. I got double booked with things. I have, kids stuff, life stuff, a friend who's staying with us missed their plane. It's 5 million things going on. I got on my online scheduler, it's conflicting with my master schedule, and it's just life. Okay, so it happens. But when all of these things are going on, we can either allow those distractions to carry us away and take us away from what it is we say we want, or we can go, okay, what are my priorities? So this morning I was speaking to Harvey Mackay. He is a mentor of mine. He's written 7 New York Times bestsellers, including Swim with the Sharks or Get Eaten Alive. And Harvey, 7 New York Times bestsellers, it's incredible. So I said to him, Harvey, have you set any goals at the beginning of the year that you haven't accomplished yet and you still do? And he said, that's an interesting question, Susan. And he said, here's a fact for you, and you can tell all of your viewers. I had 140 items on my bucket list, and he's in his 80s and he just achieved his last one, and which was to go golfing. I'm not a golfer. You don't want to golf with me. I would never put myself down, but just don't ever golf with me. If we're ever meeting in person and I'm like, let's go golfing, just say no. Just don't do it, just for your own health. Promise. Like the last time I golfed, I swung the club. It narrowly missed the groin of the person I was golfing with. Just never golf with me. But that was his goal, not mine. So I promise you, I don't even know the course, but it was a big deal for him. So he just did it. And I said, so now what? And he said, well, I'm going to write another 140 more goals before the end of the year. And so as I said, he's in his 80s. He's still going strong. It's amazing. And I told him, I said, Harvey, I'm going to be teaching on productivity today on my Facebook Live. Do you have any tips? And he said, as a matter of fact, I do. So I prepared 5 strategies for you today, including those that I have learned from Mr. Mackay, the very ones that allow me to run 3 businesses, have 5 kids, and yes, I ran a half marathon yesterday at Disney World or Disneyland in California at Marvel Superheroes. I was dressed as She-Hulk. It was amazing, and to be able to do all those things I love. So who's excited to learn these tips? We're going to be super on task today because again, I'm having a day. I'm sure you're having a day. We're going to be very focused. So the biggest problem when it comes to prioritization, as I said, is distraction. And in order to get anything done, you have to be highly, write this down, ninja focused. Okay, ninja focused. And you have to figure out, what are my top priorities? And then when the word priority is there for you, and many of my OYL students know this, it shouldn't even be plural. Did you know priority was never plural until about the 1950s? That's when we started putting an S on it. It originally came from the Latin priore, which means one. There was one singular focus. And then now in 2017, we're like, oh my gosh, I've got all these priorities. No, you don't. What is the one priority? And one of the things I do teach my students is you can have a priority in different areas of your life. So you've got your health priority, You've got a relationship priority, and then you've got maybe a money priority, and maybe it's a relationship with God priority, whatever it is for you, your different categories. It could be contribution, but in each of those things, at the end of the day, one thing is going to trump everything. Trust me. And it might change from day to day. It might change week to week, or whatever it is that's going on in your life. So let me give you an example. So knowing that I had this half marathon coming up, and I haven't done a half marathon in a year and a half. As many of you know the story, I got sick last year in Africa. Last year at this time, I'd go walking for 5 minutes and I nearly passed out. It wasn't pretty. So forget about, running 21 kilometers or 13.1 miles. So on Sundays, my priority was not to go to yoga. It wasn't to just go for a nice leisurely walk. I had to get out there and run because I knew I had this. Does this make sense? So my husband and I, God bless him, get up, go for a long run, then we go to church. But the priority was to get that long run in. And during the week, as much as I was like, I'm just going to do my Peloton or I'm going to do something else, my priority was still to get those runs in. Okay, that was my health priority, number one. That was the top thing so that I could do this race and feel comfortable doing it. Now, in business and in life, we're going to have other priorities as well. For example, if your child was gravely ill or your pet was gravely ill, everything else would go to the side and boom, that would become a priority. But how often are we operating our lives where we say, yes, this is what I want. I want to make more money. I want to find the ideal partner. I want to get healthy. And yet, if I came to your house and I watched you for 24 hours, would what I'm seeing you do in your activities align with what you say your priorities are? For some of you it would, and some of you it wouldn't. So let's talk about what are some of the things we can do. The first thing is, number one, with 6 weeks left to go, decide what your priorities are. Do not end this day without saying, my number one health priority is this. Okay, so maybe you started the year and you want to release 100 pounds and it's 6 weeks to go, you still have 100 pounds to release. Okay, change it. Maybe it's to release 20 pounds by the end of the year. That would be very healthy. Maybe you started the year and you're like, well, my health priority was that I'm going to be 6% body fat and you're 13% body fat. Then, move the number. Just say, yes, my priority is that I'm going to be 12% body fat. Choose it. When it comes to money, maybe you said, this is the year. I'm going to be a 6-figure earner. I'm going to be a 7-figure earner. And you're nowhere near that. Move the needle. See what you can do. Make it a priority. In my own life, I've got some very specific things that are priorities. And one of those priorities has a very, very specific timeline. And so even today, I had people texting me, I sent your assistant an email. I need a call today. You don't have anything in your schedule? No, I don't, because it isn't a priority. Write this down, please. Do not let someone else's procrastination become your chaos. Do not let someone else's procrastination become your chaos. Just because someone needs something last minute, if it is not in your priority state, then it doesn't have to become a priority to you. Doing my hair today was not a priority. I love you all, and if you judge me because I'm like rocking, it's not even pretty anymore. It's like pretty ugly at the moment, but I just like took a thing and I washed my hair and I brushed it, but this was as good as it was gonna get. My hair was not a priority. Giving you guys some great value on a Monday and really prepping what I was gonna train you on was way more of a priority. So you've gotta figure it out. Right? And you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, if someone's going to judge my hair, are they going to do business with me? Probably not. Okay. Does that make sense? So taking a look at what those priorities are and then saying to yourself, if I could accomplish one thing in each of my life categories, my health, my relationships, my money, what would that one thing be? And that's what you want to do. You want to schedule your life around it. So here are some tips I wrote down and some bonus tips from Mr. McKay. So the first one is, with regard to your priorities, there's a must versus a nice to do by the end of the year. Okay, must is different. Your must, whatever it is you must accomplish, there's a timeline to it, and you've got to have that urgency. And that's what Harvey McKay says. If it's a priority, there has to be urgency in that priority. There is one priority I have, I'll let you guys know when I accomplish it. There's such urgency in it because the clock is ticking. So regardless of all the people that were pulling on me or whatever, if this thing doesn't happen, it's going to have major consequences. So instead of like picking up the phone and being available for everyone, my family is way more important with regard to this priority. So I have carved out time, and that's all I'm focusing on. And yes, there could be different things I could be doing, having a 90-minute workout or going for a massage instead of getting it done, and we want to GSD, get stuff done. This is a priority. There is urgency behind that priority. So that's the first one. Whatever it is, a must, there has to be urgency behind it. The second one is that if something's really pressing, Harvey suggests the Post-it method approach. I'm a huge fan of Post-it. So here's a little strategy from Mr. McKay. So basically what he does, let's say a friend, a really good friend calls him up and says, hey, you know, my son is looking for an interning job next year. This is his dream job. His name is Ethan. So what Harvey does is he writes himself a Post-it note that says, Ethan, internship. And sometimes he writes even more than one Post-it, and he puts it right where he makes his calls. He might put it in his car. So it's always at the forefront of his mind. And remember what I've trained you, what is at the forefront of your mind is at the forefront of your action. So when he's on the phone, and let's say he's on the phone with someone at Citibank, and he knows someone is like, hey, by the way, are you looking for interns this summer? I have a friend. His son is amazingly qualified. His name is Ethan. Boom. And when you think about the massive amount of things that Mr. McKay does in a day, he's a speaker, he's an author, he runs the McKay Mitchell Envelope Company, he's got a syndicated column that's in over 100 publications, he also runs Harvey McKay University. He's got so many things going on, plus he has a big family. If it's a priority, the Post-it note effect is amazing. So let me bring it down to a level that you might, find just, helpful in terms of what it is you do. So let's say it's a priority for you to close, 10 sales before the end of the year. So you'd write a Post-it note that says close 10 sales. So when you're going on Facebook, instead of looking at kitten videos, you're like, okay, I'm going to go on to close 10 sales. Or you're making a call, you're on the phone with a friend, and instead of just like yammering on, you might say, listen, I have a specific goal. I'm looking for 10 new clients by the end of the year. Here's my ideal client. They're tech savvy. They're looking for a CRM, whatever it is you do, boom, 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 boom. Again, if it's at the forefront, it's much more likely to happen. So that's another tip that you can do. The next thing that I want to say is prioritize your VIPs. So if you have some kind of job where you have clients, you have your, top salespeople or just important people, make a list of those people you want to connect with before the end of the year, and then send them an email. Business is email. Email is business. Send them an email. Say, listen, I would love to connect with you before the end of the year is up. I want to hear, what your goals are for 2018. I just want to connect. Let's book 15 minutes. Now, if you use a scheduling program, I use Scheduling One, a schedule once, and when it works, it's phenomenal. It's not working today. Oh, well. But you could send them a link to your schedule, and you can say, listen, I would love to set up a time. Just pick a time. Let me know if anything works. You're important to me. And I really highly recommend this. I'm going to be in Las Vegas next Monday with about 80 VIPs in my life and one of my companies. And I have 2 days to really work with them and mentor them and nurture them and really connecting with the people. If you run a business, remember that 80% of your income comes from 20% of your clients or your business people, your salespeople, whoever it is that you work with. Do you have time on the books to at least connect with some of these top 20% before the end of the year? Make sure you do that. And when I was talking to Harvey, he said, I have 150 people on that list. 150 people to connect with before the end of the year. So he's having his executive assistant reach out to those people, schedule time, whether it's, a quick 5-minute phone call or a coffee or golf or whatever. And trust me, he will get through 150 people. If he can do it, we can do it too. The next thing, review your schedule and say, look, is my schedule in alignment with what I say is a must? Is my schedule in alignment with what I say is a must? So if I came to your house and you're like, yes, I really must make 6 figures this year and I'm at $65,000 and you have 6 weeks to generate $35,000 and I look at your schedule and there's nothing in your calendar, that's a problem. So take a look at your schedule. Have you scheduled time to address what it is you say you want. If it's about releasing weight for you, have you scheduled in workout time to do your grocery shopping, meal planning? If you have said, you know what, 2017 is my last year of being single, have you scheduled time to go out and meet people, like physically meet people, Match.com, whatever, yes, you can sit in your jammies and you can, down some s'mores ice cream, and you can go on Match.com and look at, people's profiles and stuff like that. Or you can physically get out and physically meet people, which I do suggest you do. That's my dating advice, unsolicited. I haven't been dating in a long time because I've been with my husband for 17 years, but if I was, that's what I advise you to do. If your priority is to sizzle up the relationship you have, do you have dates scheduled? What have you got scheduled? And get specific. And if there is someone who invites you to do something that is not a priority, just either say no or say, let's revisit. Let me give you an example. So I was offered a speaking event to go overseas, and I'm like, you know what? It's not a priority to say yes right now for something in 2018, because just by saying yes and going into planning, that's going to take hours of my time away out of this 6 weeks that I've got to crush it for the end of the year. So what I said to this person is, hey, right now, this is what's going on, but if you're still interested in booking me in January, I'd love to have the conversation. Does this make sense, everyone? If it does, say yes, right? So you can push things off to get the things done that you really want to get done. Okay, the next thing that you want to do every morning for the next 6 weeks, review your schedule. Take a look at it and go, okay, is this in alignment with my priorities? Is there something that I can get off my schedule? Is there something that just doesn't make sense? Can I move things? Can I shorten things? And then review it on Sunday as you go into the week and say, look, does this make sense for what I say I want? And, anyone that I am personally working with, I've got a lot of people in one of my companies where we're physically teaching people how to wrap brands around themselves and build landing pages and stuff like that. We're not talking about getting your lead generation going now. It's great, do it. What we're talking about is January, being fully ready for January, having it all good to go. Right? Does this make sense? So if your priority is to rock out your January, how are you going to do that right now? What strategy do you have in place? Do you have time committed to do that? And then the last thing I want to say is really around distractions. Okay, I love you guys so much. I do. And you may be saying, well, how do you love me? You don't even know me. You're here. You're tuning in. You're still here after a few minutes. Like, seriously, I love you. The reality is, guys, is that in the next 6 weeks, between holidays and life and 5 million other things you've got going on, there is going to be ample opportunity to get off course. And the thing I want to leave you with is this, and I want to share something really quick with you, is that if you are in the exact same place at this time next year, the same weight, the same health, the same bank account, the same business, the same relationship or lack thereof, how are you going to feel? Okay, so my question for you is, what is this next 6 weeks going to look like for you in order for you to crush it? And here's what we're going to do. On Mondays, we're going to work on this. Every Monday. And then as we go into December, I want us to work on this, living the 4 agreements throughout the whole month of December. So week number 1, we're going to talk about, being impeccable to your word. And we're going to live the 4 agreements all through the month of December. So then January, your head is on straight, you're super organized, you're super productive. So if you have loved this today, please share it. Tune in on Mondays. I'm going to be here next Monday. I'll be in Las Vegas. I'll be in a training, but I'm going to step out and train you guys. And if you want to get really ridiculously organized, I have a free gift for you. So if you text 72000, 72,000, and you write the word organize, so just text 72,000, write organize, I'm going to text you my Organize Your Life Planner. So it's 27 pages to help you get organized and on track, prioritize between now to the end of the year. So it's 72,000. You text organize, and that's what's going to happen. So with that, God bless you. Go rock your day. Have an amazing week. And at the end of the day, life is going on. Everything, just remember to breathe and know it's all perfect. All right. With that, guys, love you. I'll see you next week from Las Vegas. Bye, everybody.